I'm getting my doctorates right now, and we're forced to be trained to think about innovative research questions. So today I was thinking about a research question, and it came up here is actually understanding the human willpower through AI partnerships. So when we talk about that, I actually had to do a little bit more digging. So again, in school, they forced me to take the next step. Go deeper into the research question. So I came up with HR professionals having the willpower to survive the next evolution of technology. As you know, it's changing faster and faster and faster. So what ended up happening? Well, we are in HR. How does HR evolve? Remember when you were just an admin? Yeah. Remember then, back 2 decades ago, we were HR business partners. Then we ended up moving into data scientists or data analysis. Yep. Who here has started learning about data analysis or data science? Who knows the difference between the two? All right, so now we have to start learning about AI. How are we going to bring that? How are we going to start figuring out the learning skills that we're going to need, right? Well, we have to go back to school. Yeah, I know, I'm back in school. It's not easy. Well, now I have to start learning how to reprogram my brain. And how am I going to do that? Well, in order to reprogram my brain, I have to figure out what learning skills work for me, what learning style works for me, okay? So when I think about different learning styles, there's 4 that come into mind. Kinesthetics, well, I'm not going to read them to you, but I'll tell you about them, right? This one is kinesthetics. This is a physical change. Visual, auditory, I like my favorite podcast, and then reading and writing, journaling. So when we think about how we learn, it's really important to be able to equate that. So recently, what happened in the last 4 years with us, right? What ended up happening? COVID, exactly. COVID hit, and we had to stop going to school. We had to stop physically interacting with each other, and we had to go online. Boom, there's AI, okay? AI is showing its ugly little head, but we love them because they're amazing, right? Because honestly, I'm scared of this guy. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna learn to be his best friend, and he's gonna learn how to teach me, or he or she, or non-binary. I prefer to think of as non-binary. Less threatening, all right? But how do we actually learn about that? What are we going to do? Well, just like I need to learn the new styles of learning, well, AI is doing the same thing with us. And there's this theory here called, and you can't read it here, but it's called the model collapse. Basically what that says is that if we as human beings don't continue to feed problems and issues to AI, AI won't learn. Well, at that point, we have to figure out what are the difficult tasks that we have, what are the challenges we have, how do we learn to overcome those challenges, and then we can start working with AI, and AI can start working for us. Well, at that point, we have to start doing what? We gotta reprogram our brains. Yes, those are actual neural pathways sparking and firing thousands and thousands of minutes per second, right? So we have to start thinking about how do we get to this? How do we start inspiring ourselves? How do we start changing our mind? Well, as professionals, we have to start looking at a few things, right? So we have to start thinking about biologically, as human beings, what makes us tick? What motivates us? What inspires us to move on? And what inspires us in order to reach new heights? What inspires us to motivate ourselves? Well, I like to hear the saying here. It says, as HR professionals, let's tap into the human potential to achieve great heights within an ever-changing technological world. Super, super important. How do we do that as human beings? We're human. Well, there's this funny little molecule in our brains called dopamine. How does dopamine actually work? How does it help us learn and change? Well, dopamine has been coined the motivational hormone, the motivational neurotransmitter. Well, how do we produce dopamine in our bodies? Well, there's good and there's bad. Again, you can't see it, but here, the bad dopamine, the bad hormone that is produced in your body is by social media, hanging out all night, drinking, late nights, gambling, drugs, etc. The good version was sleeping, eating healthy, being promoted. Well, in order for us to continue to have healthy, positive dopamine boosts in our body, we have to think about how is dopamine actually produced and sustained in our body. And it's through the journey of the hard challenges that we have. Well, I'm going to leave you with 3 different topics. The first one in science, right? My favorite reality and my favorite experiment is in reality, the Higgs boson particle was coined, I don't know if this is ironic or not, the God particle. This is what creates reality for us, right? They worked really hard to sustain and learn that. The second one is the spiritual molecule. Well, this, again, is another chemical in our brain that helps us be spiritual, inspires us to think that God is out there, something's out there, something bigger than ourselves. Well, I like to add in my own little coin, or try to make my mark in the world or the universe, is dopamine. Dopamine is the will of God. Well, if you want to learn a little bit more, I can tell you why dopamine is the will of God molecule. That's because dopamine, again, is it's the journey of learning how to build our endurance. So I want to leave everybody here tonight with one question, okay? How will you use your superpower, which you now know is dopamine? Thank you.